So much, Harold. And before I introduce our guest speaker, I wanted to let you know that Nicole and I went back to see my mom in Mississippi last week. So we did the minister's trip, leave after church on Sunday and come back Friday. And so she's 86 years old, and she's doing fine physically and mentally. It was a joy to see. She had a lot of wisdom shared up for me, so I think she never stopped talking the whole time. But it was a great experience, and I ate some great food. Lord knows I'm glad I don't live there. It's not very healthy, but God, it was fabulous because we went through New Orleans. So anyway, Reverend Carol is a very good friend of mine. We went to ministerial school together. She got out a year before I did. She's been a very, very busy lady. So she's an ordained minister of CSL. She's been studying this philosophy for 23 years. Around here, we like people who study it a long time. And she's also written this great book. She's an established youth and family minister. She's written a great book, My Friend Ernest, for the youth, which talks about Ernest's life, and it's fabulous. And on top of all that, she's a full-time chaplain. So with ministers, service runs deep, and we're blessed to have Carol, and she's got a great story to share with you. Reverend Carol?
I might have a great story to share with you, but you have an amazing center to enjoy. What a blessing today to be here with you. Hi, everyone. Hi. Just going to look at you for a second. And Reverend Michael, he's pretty special, huh? Yeah, he's like the steady, calming force. And what an amazing quality for a minister. And love Nicole too. Amazing people. What a blessing you are and what a blessing you have. So, we're talking about how much can we believe? And our practitioner, Judy, really opened the window in her reading, because it calls us to faith. It calls us to what do we believe. How much we can believe is about the unlimitedness of God. But how much do we believe is entirely up to our capacity to hold and grow bigger in what lights us up with understanding and joy and peace. So, the founder of Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, he talks about a power for good in the universe, and it responds to us. And going back to the basic of my education in Science of Mind, I remember what drew me in so much. There were many things, but one of them that drew me in far was when I read on page 28 of the Science of Mind text, and it was about prayer. And what it said about prayer, and being brand new, I never heard this before, is it said, the reason why some people are healed through prayer and others are not, it's not because God has responded to some and not others, but that some have responded to God more than others. And what that message of love spoke to me was that I have work to do. There is this power for good, and that's another beautiful thing about our philosophy. We're not dualistic. Sometimes we can behave dualistically, like there's good and bad, heaven and hell, open, closed, hard, easy. We categorize our experiences based on whether we like them or not. But what if they were neutral? And we could just connect to the power of good, because there's only one power and it's good. And I happen to love taking personal responsibility. And I honor all paths to God, and I'm with all paths to God at the hospital. The hospital is actually my church. I was looking for some place like you, but that's where God called me. I was just hoping for a good interview, and I ended up getting the job. I was like, whoa. So I've been a chaplain for 3 years, and it has blessed me in ways that I didn't even know I could be blessed. By the real teachers, by the real heroes, the people living in tragedy, moving through difficult things, amazing teachers and blessings. And I'll share a story or two with you. Uh-oh, I have to put my timer on because I get lost in talking. And I don't want to be disrespectful of time just because I get lost. So, goodness. There's only one power. Only one power, and it is done unto us as we believe. As is open. As is the window from which to open, to move into deeper faith. What do you believe in? Do you believe in fear? Do you believe in lack? Do you believe in love? And how to get deeper in your beliefs is look at your life. We're powerful creators. What's showing up for you might be a similar belief that matches the experience you might be having. And what I know about this, one of the spiritual laws that supports goodness, which is our work to do, just like prayer, is that if you have a want, but your belief doesn't believe it's possible to have, what is done unto us as we believe is not having. Every time not having will win. So the work, just like prayer for us, is to connect to all that is. It's up to us. The as is up to us to open the window and walk through, whether it's spiritual practice, coming to this amazing center. If I lived closer, I'd be here every Sunday. And I'm going to think about all of you people at 6:30. After my second service today, I know everything happens at 6:30. So there's this power for good, and we get to use it. We get to use it. So our wanting and believing that we can have it. Here's an example of my work every day. There are people who are faced with a challenge. They want healing. They feel so separate that it would take a miracle. They feel so separate from God because whatever beliefs have contributed to their consciousness isn't rising up to match the want. And so that's the work for us to do too, is to know that no matter what anything was said to us or about us or for us or from us, that we are all worthy of the good that we can rise up to. That we can rise up to. We have a part in this. It's like we need to take it in somehow. Prayer takes it in. Prayer takes that love and brings it in. Just like in the world, we can look, but we don't see unless we feel something. And so to feel the grace in the challenge, to feel the climb to greater life somehow, because if there's only goodness, whatever I'm going through is leading me to greater life somehow, greater belief somehow. And when I'm with people at the hospital, I work in palliative care, so it's intensive care. It's people who are facing really difficult challenges. And a couple of things that I draw on that help me support and love the people who are there is from A Course in Miracles. And it's just powerful to remember that the Course in Miracles says, which is in alignment with all of this, is that there's only two emotions of which we are capable: fear or love. Fear or love. And they don't coexist. You're in one or the other. They don't live together. And the other thing that the Course in Miracles says is that belief produces the acceptance of evidence. So the work is in moving, shifting, growing, soothing our belief, and move more into the how much can I, not how much I do, because you're limited by your human perception of what you do believe. And one of the most amazing things we can do is play in a non-belief and watch it open us somehow. Just think about something that you have shut down and see what happens. That's the part that we get to do like prayer. We get to open and grow our capacity. And how simple is it that here's the love column, here's the fear column. Say I have an issue. It makes sense to me that anything that I would call a negative emotion would be thrown into the fear pile. And everything that I call love and safety and joy would be thrown into the love. If there's only fear or love, it's like a shortcut to healing. Joel Goldsmith says that healing is instantaneous if you catch it at the level of the thought and not react to it with fear. Ooh, that's a good one. Are you with me? Yes, good. It's in our reactions. It's in. I have been through things in my life. Whew. And it's the time when you know you need to pray, but you just can't get there yet. And you feel consumed physically, mind, body, and spirit by what does this mean? All that can go in the fear. And so much of what I've learned as a chaplain is to just bring love with me. And it shows up differently for who needs it. And just being the presence of love and knowing that I have to lean into God because God's braver than I am. And I know where to go. And I'm so moved by the things we get to go through and choose who to become through it. And that's where we can open the window to grow our capacity for love rather than fear. Because that's where God is. That's where God is. I have a story of a patient that really is one that sticks. And I'm called to share it with you right now. And this is someone who shied away from me. The chaplain, oh, I don't need that. I'm good. A lot of people say that, and it's so sweet. And this was one of them, and I would just, hi, just come in, and, I have no agenda. Nobody even knows what I believe, but I stand firm in it as I show up because I need me. I tell my friends, I think I became a minister because I needed one with me all the time. So this patient, I offered meditation. Sometimes I'll just offer a little bit of imagery, or I'll ask you, what's your favorite color? And someone will say, oh, blue. And I'll say, well, blue is now your healing color. So let's just breathe into blue and let's just feel the energy of blue and how good it feels. And then it can feel like a river moving through you and just, you just feel lighter. And, because I'm with people of all faiths, so I have to find ways to relate to all of them. We all think, right? So I can bring up that our thoughts are important. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Or imagery or something that's trying to soothe them. So I offered meditation kind of without saying it was meditation to this specific patient, and he said, oh, no, I can't do that. Oh, okay. Just tried to connect with him, and it was difficult. And he kept coming back, and one day I didn't know he was there, and I see him waving me down in the hall. The door was open, and he's just like, oh, I'm like looking to see who's near me that can go in instead of me. And nobody else was around, so it was me. So I went in, and he said to me, I'm ready to talk, chaplain. And he was angry. Okay. And he said to me, prayer doesn't work. You know how many people are praying for me? And I'm dying. And I said, okay. And he said, talk to me about your God, chaplain. So I asked him, what are you holding in the box that defines God for you? That has to happen for you to have a real experience of prayer. What does God have to do for you? What is your expectation that you are holding in a box that God needs to fill? And he said, I want to be healed. Can I at least enjoy a meal? And I said, okay. And what happened next was I asked him, I was guided to ask him because I don't do any of this by myself. I'm lost most of my life. I leaned into who speaks through me. And so the next question was, have you ever in your life, can you think of a time in your life where you wanted something so badly and you didn't get it, but something more amazing came instead that you could have never thought about on your own? And he didn't say anything. And so I said to him, maybe that's what this is about. And then I said, let's have the real conversation now. Are you ready to go with me? And he said, yes. And I said, what is it that you're afraid of? What is it that you're afraid of? And that's where we blew up the conversation and brought love there. And he never thought about, had no idea, was just blown away by some of the thoughts of what happens after here. What if you lived before? What if only love is waiting for you? What if this is the hard part? What if that was true? Kind of opened a window for him to reach in to create a capacity that he didn't know he needed. And you know what he said to me as I left his room? And I cry every time I say this, so please bear with me. He said to me, I think answered prayer was when you saw me waving to you to come into my room today. And for it to end that way, the way it started, this is how I'm blessed every day by love. And he ended up passing away way more peacefully. I was there. No fear, just love. And I often think, we're all going to reach that door at some point, and I think, and I have this vision of me getting there when it's my time and saying, I worried about this my entire life? Are you kidding me? It's like what we do to ourselves. This might be the hard part. There's some parts that are hard, and we get to transcend our faith into greater faith somehow, because it is done unto us as we believe. But we need to think about what we believe. So that's my story about him. And boy, he blessed me. So many people bless me. I'm with atheists, I'm with Catholics, I'm with very separate, very connected, very evolved. And I really understand that everybody is right where they need to be, including you here today. What a blessing. What a blessing that you have this. So, I think it's, sorry, just trying to be respectful. And I don't like it because I feel taken away from you when I have to look at something. So I wanted to offer you a tool or something to move you through a challenge that I find is helpful in the work that I do. Besides maybe the color or image in the meditation, you are familiar with meditation, so it doesn't have to be certain language where I don't use the word meditation, but I offer you something healing. But what I love so much, and we're talking about other religions, and I have so much reverence and respect, and so grateful that I have the freedom to believe that what I want to believe and what makes sense to me, without having anyone feel threatened by that, or it's just a beautiful thing how we celebrate and honor all paths, and that we don't have to make anyone else wrong to feel more right. That drew me into Science of Mind as well. But this particular interpretation can remind us of a Christian background, because it's a metaphysical interpretation by Emmett Fox, who's a Unity minister, and I love this so much, because in his metaphysical interpretation of being born again, people who are born again are usually associated with Jesus and taking him as your Lord and Savior, and it's a Christian ideology. But Emmett Fox says it this way: when we become born again, what it really means is to make a decision to land in a new place inside yourself and only receive from then on from there. That reborns us into a brand new experience. So it's like opening that window and making a conscious, aware choice that from this moment forward, I am going to stand in a new place within me to only receive it from here and not keep going back to what is painful or whatever is going on. Set the bar high for your as. Set your bar high and then meet yourself there. That defines what it means to be born again, when you are renewed in a new truth. And so, I'm a born again. 20 times a day. I need me with me to do this. And I feel so privileged to be here with you, to ask you how you can be born again. Because every morning, for as much time as we have here, we get to be in renewal, we get to be in a greater sense of love, we get to choose love or fear, a lot of belief in fear, but we get to choose which pile to throw our stuff in. And the capacity to hold fear is where I continually become reborn. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your love. I feel it. And I bless you all on your path. I bless you all on your path. And I'm grateful to have had the privilege to stand before you and feel your love. Namaste.